Excellennial here with another story-based Excel tutorial, and today I'm telling you about Olivia the Candle Maker. Olivia thinks she's done well this last year and a half selling her homemade candles on Etsy. She wants to track her revenue, but is getting a little overwhelmed with her spreadsheet of transactions. Olivia wants to find out what her revenue was each month for the last 16 months. Here's Olivia's spreadsheet with all of the transactions that she has completed in the last 16 months. This is a spreadsheet of 700 transactions, which is a little overwhelming to say the least. Now our goal here is to take all of the payments that were made to Olivia's Etsy candle shop and add them all up together based on the month and the year. I went ahead and already put together the formulas for the first 12 months, and I'm going to click here real quick and show you exactly how I put it together, and then I'll walk through doing it for the next few months. We're using the SUMIFS function. Now what this does is it sums specific numbers based on very specific criteria. I told this function to add every single payment up from column F if column B says that the transaction date starts with month number 5 and if it also ends in 2017. So I'll show you how I wrote that out real quick. Equal SUMIFS. And we're using SUMIFS because we don't have one parameter. If we only had one requirement, let's say that it needed to be from 2017, then we would use SUMIF without the S at the end. Since we have 2 parameters we need this to meet, we're going to use these SUMIFS. Now the sum range is column F. Now that we've selected our sum range, we're going to add the comma so it stops looking at sum range and starts focusing on the criteria range. So where are we looking for this first piece of information, this first criteria that we're going to write up that has to be met for the function to add up anything in column F? That's going to be column B. This is where we're going to set our parameters or the criteria that this function needs to match. We'll add the comma because we're done telling it where this range is, and now we're going to tell it what is the first criteria that this has to match. In this case, we want it to begin with the number 6 and a slash. That's because this is for June 2017. We're looking for number 6 for the month of June. So that'll be quote 6 slash. Now the reason why we put this in quotes is that that's how the function will understand that we're looking for the 6 slash exactly in the transaction date section. It's not just another cell number or a formula, it's actually the exact characters that we're looking for. Now, it doesn't matter what's after it in terms of if it's the 24th of June or the 10th of June, none of that matters. So we're going to put an asterisk. It's kind of a wild card. So basically, if something in column B starts with 6 slash with anything after it, that's one of the criteria that this needs to meet. So we'll add that asterisk and then close out the quote and add a comma to say that we're done setting the criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is going to be that it is in 2017. We do have other transactions on here that are from 2016, and we don't want to count the payments from 2016 in June. We only want the payments from 2017 in June. But before we tell it that it needs to be in 2017, we have to tell it what the criteria range is again. It will be column B once more, but that's one of the great things about SUMIFS. We could also set it and say that it also needs to meet the criteria of a transaction number that starts with 4. That's not what we want, but if we needed to, we could select a totally different column for the next criteria range. In this case, we've already selected column B, so we'll add our column and we'll be done with that portion. And our criteria 2 is going to be quotation, that asterisk for the wildcard again, slash 2017, and end the quote. Now we don't have any additional criteria to add, so we don't need to add a comma again. We already have the parentheses and we'll just hit enter. So when it comes to all of the other areas, we can actually save a bunch of time and just copy and paste this. I'll show you how to do that real quick here. We'll copy it, but now I can't just select another cell. If I'm going to select another cell, it will change the entire formula. So I'm going to hit escape, but I do still want to copy this formula. Now, since I don't want to change the formula, I'm going to press enter or return on the Mac, and then I will click into the formula bar when I now have cell I-15 selected, paste this in here, Now all I need to change is the month number. The first criteria was 6 because we were looking for transactions that occurred in June, whereas now we're trying to program any transactions that occurred in July. So if we change that to 7 real quick, we don't even have to rewrite the entire formula. We just have to change that one piece, and now that we've changed that one little number, it is telling the SUMIFS function to look for any payment in column F that begins with 7/ in transaction date and ends in /2017. And now it gives us accurate numbers. So this is a part of what's so great about this function, so that you don't have to rewrite every single one that comes up. I can continue this on the rest of the way. Now we're looking at August. Anything that begins with 8 and ends in 2017. Just add that back in. Anything that is for September begins with 9. Enter that in. But all I'm doing is just pasting the formula that we already made for the very first one. So just to review this really quick, SUMIFS is looking for the sum range. What are we trying to add together? In this case, the payments. And the criteria range. What is the criteria that these rows have to match? Where is that? That's going to be in transaction date. Criteria 1 is that it has to begin for this formula with 12/ and then an asterisk after because that's the wild card. Anything after doesn't matter. And then again, the second criteria is going to be in the transaction date again, column B, and it has to end with /2017. We do put the asterisk before this though, just as the wild card saying that anything can come before 2017. Having the true criteria like that, even with the wild card, they don't cancel each other out, but it works together instead because we're setting 2 separate criterias. Now Olivia knows a fast way to find little bits of data in a lot of rows. She was able to find how much money she made every single month for the last 16 months in an extremely short period of time, especially when she learned that she can copy, once you have written them out, the formulas that you want to use, and just change small details based on, in her case, the months that she was looking for the transactions in. If you have any questions about this process, leave them in the comment section below, and until next time, have fun excelling!